Over the last 4 years, the Nebraska legislature has passed a slate of laws designed to protect Nebraskans from transnational repression, safeguard Nebraska's data and critical infrastructure, combat malign influence operations, and enhance resilience to prepare for conflict. Nebraska is home to the U.S. Strategic Command at Offutt Air Force Base, as well as numerous nuclear missile installations that make it a target for foreign adversaries. However, every state has critical industries, infrastructure, and institutions that our national security relies on. The People's Republic of China is a threat to every state and every community in our country. Our work to address the threats facing Nebraska from the PRC began when we were alerted to Pentagon concerns about the pervasiveness of Huawei technology near our critical defense infrastructure. In 2020, the U.S. government took formal action to designate Huawei technologies as a threat to national security, but Huawei technology was still in use and being newly installed throughout Nebraska years later. In 2023, we drafted legislation to prohibit telecommunications companies from receiving state funds if they use or provide communications equipment deemed a national security threat. Additionally, telecom companies must annually certify that they don't use equipment designated as a threat by the FCC. The law also clears red tape obstacles to enhance security by stipulating that no additional permits or authorization from any state agency or local government will be required to remove prohibited equipment. Robust lobbying pressure was employed to keep Beijing-linked technologies in use, but elected officials from both parties ultimately rejected this pressure. After this law passed, my office was inundated with threat information from national security professionals who encouraged us to push forward. And we passed several more laws in 2024 to protect Nebraska against foreign adversaries. The Foreign-Owned Real Estate National Security Act prevents any person, foreign government, or entity determined to be a foreign adversary from holding land within 10 miles of a military installation, including nuclear missile silos. In cases of noncompliance, the law provides the Nebraska Attorney General with authority to force divestment. The Pacific Conflict Stress Test Act created a joint legislative and executive committee on Pacific conflict to assess how a conflict in the Pacific could disrupt and endanger Nebraska. The committee meets quarterly to evaluate the state's supply chains, export markets, critical infrastructure, and security apparatus, and makes recommendations to strengthen resilience. Lastly, in 2024, we passed the Foreign Adversary Contracting Prohibition Act. Legislation prohibits companies controlled by foreign adversaries from procurement contracts involving communications technology, network systems, and critical infrastructure. As we worked to pass these laws, we learned about local government officials being contacted by the CCP, and we started to hear from victims of transnational repression. Reporting emerged regarding an alleged Chinese overseas service station operating in Omaha, highlighting the threat of intelligence activity and transnational repression within Nebraska. We sought to limit the CCP's ability to influence, manipulate, and hurt people in our state by introducing the Foreign Adversary and Terrorist Agent Registration Act and the Crush Transnational Repression in Nebraska Act in 2025.